James L. Jones is a retired four-star Marine Corps general and former NATO Supreme Allied Commander in Europe, and one-time U.S. National Security Advisor. Barack Obama. He is now an advisor and frequent commentator on security issues, strongly advocating military and other aid to help Ukraine defend itself against Russian invasion. Jones talks to RFERL's Georgia service about the global repercussions of the Ukraine war, whether providing long-range weapons poses a risk of broader war, and what this coming February tells us about donor fatigue. RFERL: How would you describe the battlefield situation in Ukraine in chessboard terms? The Ukrainian command was likened to positional warfare by General Valeriy Zaluzhniy. James L. Jones: I don't think it's a matter of chess, as it's probably one of the biggest historical mistakes any leader has ever made. When Russian President Vladimir Putin decided to invade, we may never know what led to the decision, but I think he, like all dictators, listens to people who reflect his views. But I think he saw unfortunate US-led international withdrawal from Afghanistan as an indication US probably wouldn't happy with an invasion. But they believe war would be over very quickly and they complicit in very quickly. Like eventual annexation of Crimea. Unfortunately for him, he was sadly mistaken. To the extent that there is any analogy to chess now, it probably didn't exist then. But it probably does exist on the ground now. How this fight between Ukraine and Russia is rejected is probably very important for the world. RFERL: How would you describe the situation on the battlefield? The Ukrainian spring offensive launched in June unfortunately lacked one key element, and that was air power. And the Russians had plenty of time to mine areas where they thought Ukrainian ground forces would advance. And that caused everything to slow down. But I think one thing is clear: Mr. Putin's ambition to take over Ukraine in its entirety will not come true. RFERL: Is a decisive battlefield victory possible for both sides? While I don't think the stated ambitions on either side have changed that much, it doesn't appear that way. But if you look at what is happening on the ground now, I see no clear advantage on either side. There is almost no doubt that Russia will not succeed in taking over Ukraine as a country. RFERL: Can we conclude that the Ukrainian counteroffensive is over and another Russian offensive has begun? Jones: I think it's extremely important, almost on global basis, how this ends should be seen as a victory for Ukraine and defeat for Russia. I don't know what it looks like, but I am pretty convinced it had to end that way. Because if not, the autocrats of the world will be emboldened. I think the Chinese president will rethink his stance on Taiwan. I think this would be the worst outcome if Putin was admitted to the family of national leaders, to international meetings, and as if nothing had happened.